Welcome to my channel. My name is Brian, Retraining Pain. This is my journey of getting back into shape at 60 years old. My background is I'm a 12-time Ironman finisher and a qualifier of Kona. And I got big and fat over these last 14 years and gained 50 pounds. And I lost the 50 pounds in early 2025. And then I decided to get back into shape. So this is my channel on my journey back to shape. And this is the week that I'm on right now. Well, today was a major win, man. I just got back from my bike ride. It is, oh, my watch died. I think it's around 8 o'clock at night. It's dark outside. I finished with, you know what? I actually feel safer in the dark with all the flashing lights. I've got a flashing light up front and a flashing light on the back. Anyway, today was a major win, and I'm going to tell you why. So I finished work, hard as always kind of a little burnt out, lots going on. So I was going to go to LA Fitness, and my son took the truck. I didn't know that. So it's like, oh man, LA Fitness is out of there. So I'm like sitting there watching TV, and I decide to have, I had like 4 bottles of beer, 1 can. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do nothing today. And I'm thinking, it's cold outside, and cold being like 19 degrees. And I'll just sit and watch TV. And I was just like, there's nothing to eat. Maybe I'll have some peanuts, whatever, right? And then something just got into me, and I said, and I was doing some calf raises, quite a few of them, just kind of maybe get my legs going so I could run. I thought, you know what? I got to do something. I had 900 steps total, 900 steps all day just working, because the only time I walk is to the kitchen, grab a coffee, go to the bathroom. And actually I was thinking the dehydration, I said it was either the 12 cups of coffee a day or the Diet Cokes, but I forgot to mention the beers. I've also been having beers, so that's why maybe my calves are a little dehydrated, and my Achilles, it's affecting that. Anyway, so I'm just sitting there and flipping through YouTube, can't see anything, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to go for a walk, and I'm wondering, like, where am I going to walk to? And they have this, like, path that was an old train track, so I figured, well, I'm going to just walk down there and walk on it. So I do that, and as I'm walking, I see this guy on a bike, probably around my age, and he's got like a yellow jacket on, and he's riding his bike, and I'm thinking, here's this guy, he's out there riding his bike, why don't you just go out for a bike ride? Even a nice easy bike ride. So I do my walk, is about 45 minutes, and I get back and I get myself on the bike. I say, you know what? I'm just going to go for a ride and do nice and easy, whatever. And I decide, boom, I'm going to go down to Hermosa Beach, Redondo, maybe the Palo Verdes area. So I go down there, ride my bike. It's just beautiful. It's winds in my face, a lot of uphill. It's interesting. My time, my per average speed is really low, but I'm curious to see on Strava my power, because I was just motoring up these hills. And what I realized too, and I was saying many times that it's so hilly here, and I didn't anticipate that. And I was saying some of these hills are the biggest hills I've ever went up. And then I realized today, I've never went into the small ring on the front. Every climb I've been doing is on the big ring. And I'm thinking, that's pretty impressive, to pat myself on the back that I haven't done having to spin up any sort of hills. So, anyway, I decided I love this Palo Verdes. I remember when I was doing Ironman training, I was in the peak of my life. It was when I qualified for Kona, and I came to LA, and I stayed with this couple, Nina and Dana Jack, and they showed me this Palo Verdes, and we went riding out there, and it was just beautiful. And I got there today. So I went far enough, I went up, I figured, what the heck, and then rode back, and it's getting dark, but it just felt great. It was like it was like turn that frown upside down. You take this opportunity, and maybe it was a little bit of a beer buzz. I don't know. I haven't really got beer buzzes anymore since I've been on this GLP-1. But anyway, it was just a major win. I'm excited by it, and I'm also just bringing it up because Alice isn't here, and I miss her. You know, it's like normally after work we'd go do something and just hang out, or go to a restaurant or a bar together, and it's like, no way I want to go sit at a bar by myself. I see the bar flies and just talk to guys beside me. I don't want to do that. Not that I haven't, but it's usually when I was traveling at airports and stuff like that. Anyway, major win, and of course you finish off. I was going to tell one quick story. So I didn't know this, but here in the US, they have this thing called TouchTunes. And think of an old jukebox, right? And the jukebox that used to put quarters in, but this one here you can run off an app. And this is an absolute genius thing. So you're in a bar and you're hearing the music, and I hear country music, and no offense to country music, but I can only take one or two of those songs. And it's like we've actually not went to restaurants that all they do is play country music. So anyway, I find out this thing, and then you find out, I could play my own tunes. So now we're starting to hear a bunch of rap stuff and all this sort of stuff. So I start going, okay, I'm going to start having some fun. So of course I started playing some 70s music, some Joe Walsh. I threw in Sweet Caroline. But then I thought, this is a way where you can really mess with the mood and see how people react. So I started playing YMCA, Trump songs. See, you're in a very liberal sort of area. How would that affect? And then we started playing the chicken dance, and it was funny. Like, and you look around, there's some people that are doing the chicken dance, and of course, and like you pay for it to go up. So there's songs there, and then if you pay, you can go to the top. So I'm putting all these top ones, and we're just having a ball. Anyway, the reason I said that was on my ride back. I love Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline. We go to the college football games all the time, hence Michigan, and they always have, near the end, Sweet Caroline, the crowd's going nuts, and it's just awesome. Anyway, on their way back, that reminded me of us having fun and playing with a lot of the younger people. Although when we started playing the older music, which I think the 70s is the best music. So anyway, winning day. Just got back from my ride. Oh, my eyes are so salty. Oh man. Whew. Well, I went all the way to Santa Monica. Holy crap, I can hardly see. Along the water, kind of quasi got lost, but not really. But I didn't care because this is a Saturday ride. Got a lot of sleep. Slept in till 12 noon. Rough week last week, as I mentioned. I had a couple of 15-hour, 16-hour days. Fuck, I can't see. Anyway, had a couple of long days, so I caught up on my sleep. Last night went out with my son. We went and had some drinks. Took him to 3 bars here. Each of the bars are really different. So one is a dive bar where it's kind of locals. And in Manhattan Beach too, there's a lot of money when you start seeing people, they're in dive bars paying their bills with American Express black cards. And so then we went to another bar that Alice and I go to, and it's where I play that jukebox, and I'll play songs that are old from the 70s. And then from there we bar hopped to the final bar, which is really cool. It was it's like going to the Housewives of Manhattan Beach. It's all the people there are just all bling bling, money, or at least Reed knows all this stuff, and he goes, yeah, that guy's wearing shoes worth $1,500. Guys are wearing 2 watches just to show off. So Reed's like, oh, that watch is worth X amount, that one's there. It was a lot of fun. So we sit on the back wall and we just people watch and just had some beers. Of course, everyone's drinking cocktails, but it's the rich person's dive bar, or at least people that think they're rich dive bar. But boy, they're blinged out. And so then we headed back home, and yeah, it was, I just got to bed early. My Achilles is getting better, which is a great thing. And oops, my Achilles is getting better. Oh, Over and out. I just messed. Sunday ride done. Didn't want to go. You know, I did a ride yesterday. I got up this morning. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to LA Fitness. Didn't really want to go, but forced myself and told myself, you know what? Just do upper body. My Achilles seems to be doing really well. Like when I walk, I can't feel it. I'm doing the leg raises. Simon's been telling me, okay, do the leg raises, then get home, put water in a bucket, put ice in the bucket. I'm like, man, I don't want to do all that work. That's nuts. I don't got that kind of time or desire. Like, whoa. Then I got to go buy bags of ice and keep them in the freezer, and you know, I ain't got time for that. The one thing I do know about riding out here is I'm doing 2 routes. One's out to like Santa Monica area, the other one's down Redondo Beach, Palo Verdes. I guess they have so many regulations here and rules. Like if you want to build a house or whatever, it's insane. All that Pacific Palisades has been burnt. I don't even know if there's been 10 houses built because of all the regulation. But as a cyclist, what's great about the regulation, I've never seen this before in my life, is when you go over manhole covers here or any of the sort of stuff that, you know, metal grates or whatever, they are flat. It is like ice. You know, normally anywhere else you go, they're sticking up 1/4 of an inch or whatever, but it's just beautiful here. Traffic's busy, but they have bike lanes too, so which is really great. The only thing I hope or wish is that I had a little bit more routes that I could go on, so I think I'm going to start. It's going to be a bit of work. I got to drive all the way to Hollywood area, go Griffith Park. I'm going to conquer Mulholland Drive. There's a road going up called Outpost, and I was here last year and I was 50 pounds heavier, and I brought my bike. I think I rode it over a 3-month period 4 times, and I kept going. I drive up this outpost and I was like, it scared me, and nothing's ever scared me on my bike about being steep. So in my mind's eye, I have this vicious hill, and it's long to get up to Mulholland Drive on Outpost, but I'm going to do it. Before I leave, I'm taking the bike, I'm going to put it in the back of the truck, and I'm going to head out there and do it and conquer it. So where do I start? Well, the power meter, I want to start there. I did calibrate it, thank you to Simon. ChatGPT said that, but I didn't know how to do it. Anyway, I did it. So since I've calibrated, it seems my wattage is lower, and maybe I had it, you know, it was, you know, too high, because I knew it was a little too high because the average speed wasn't there. But at the same time, I haven't been really going that hard since I calibrated it. I've been trying to beat the heart rate a little lower, although I did notice on one of the rides that I did push the heart rate, you know, like outside of the, like I try to keep it under 130. So I was, you know, there's times I was getting up to 155. I did notice my resting heart rate after that was lower. I was looking at a pro. Why did I start this like 13 and a bit weeks ago, which isn't that long, like it's only 3 months, right? And the reason was twofold. Number one is I would go for an hour and 15-minute bike ride, and I'd come back bonking like I just done an Ironman. And then the other one was I'd ride the bike, and an hour into it, I couldn't even, my neck was so sore that I'd have to stop. Even half a mile from home, I'd have to stop just to kind of stand up, rest my neck, and then I go another 1/4 mile, stand up, rest my neck. So that was like one of the core motivators, like, dude, you know, this isn't good. And then I thought, well, maybe the bonking had to do with GLP-1, and I reduced the dosage and all that. Now I'm starting to question if that's in fact the case. I think maybe I was just out of shape, and I'm like really delusional, I think, because I didn't realize I got out of that kind of shape. I know it's been, 12 years since my last Ironman. It's like I'm talking to the priest. It's been like 12 years, Father, since my last confession. Grew up Catholic. And that was a rough Ironman. I think I finished that one just under 17 hours. So I've done Ironmans in the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 hour mark. So yeah, I've been able to experience it all. The one thing I've got to say, the longer the Ironman, the more tough it is. The faster you finish it tends to be the easier it is. So anyway, let's kind of talk about some of the things that have been happening. So as I mentioned, the pros, you know what? I'm starting to do an hour or more, or actually 2 hours, and come back and feeling great. So that's a good one. My neck does not hurt anymore when I ride. Now, when I get back home, it'll be interesting when I get on my tri-bike to see when I'm in the aero position, if it's a nice resting position, because I always remembered it to be like comfortable when you do a 5, 6, 7 hour bike ride. My riding up hills is outstanding. Even today, when I went on my ride earlier, I went up some of the side streets, which have really great, crazy hills. I'm a guy that prefers to go uphill than I do downhill. I'm now in a bachelor pad, me and my roommate. I'm with my son, so Alice went home, so it's just the two of us for the next couple of weeks or the next 2 weekends. Had a bonding moment with him this week. We went out to a couple of the dive bars, and even though he's not so much into it, I kind of dragged him there, and we had a good experience. And I had a few beers, and it's like, hey man, I want to be your friend, not your dad. So I had one of those moments with my dad, and then I know my dad had one of those moments with his dad. And it's just like, you know what, when your kid gets to like 29 years old, just, you need to chill and, let life unfold. So I had one of those moments. I made some notes here. Achilles getting better. It was just the other day. It was like, boom, I don't even feel it, because normally I'd be walking and I'd feel it. And of course, I know I've been getting great advice from Simon. But as I mentioned, I'm not like frickin' semi-retired and just working out all the day and basically, maintaining a lifestyle of a world-class athlete that you could put water in a bucket and have ice and and then you got like 4 maids in Malaysia. They're probably all massaging your ankle after. I don't have that lifestyle. Plus, even if I did, that's a lot of work. But what I do find when talking a little bit about lifestyle is I'm starting to feel more alive. Okay, because there was a period of time, maybe about a year ago, that I was like, oh man, you're kind of over the hill, looking at the days, anything could happen to you, blah, blah, blah. And the fitness has really got me mentally feeling in a lot better state. So I remember years ago when I was, I'd be, the word I used, and this was years ago, like I'm talking 30 years ago, I remember saying it's hard to feel sorry for yourself when you're doing something great for yourself. So when you go out and run and you do fitness and you work out and everything else, you know what? It's hard to be depressed about yourself or have anxiety about yourself when you're doing something good for yourself. And that's something that was a mantra that I came up with. The other mantra I had was, there's many times I wanted to quit my job, and it was like, you know what, if you feel this way in a month, then quit your job. And then inevitably it never happened, and 20 years went by. And then I look back now, I could have a whole video on regrets. I was like, you know what would have happened if I quit my job? I look back, that could be a whole separate video on itself. And I'm starting to, the one thing that I do find, and again, this is maybe not so much in the fitness, but it's life at 60. I just look at it, and I'm in the trenches working as hard as I ever have. This week I put in like a 15-hour day and a 17-hour day. Those were the 2 days I didn't work out. And there's something, I know I had a partner once, one of my partners, he was 90 years old, really wealthy guy, blah, 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 90 years old, but he was involved every single day working in his life, every single day. He had many investments in different companies and stuff like that. And I think that does keep you alive. Like, I'm not thinking, I know this sounds horrible, I'm not thinking of death as much as I used to. And when you're at 60 years old and you start to realize the average age that people die, depending, I think in Canada it's 78 or 80, that means you only got 20 years. Like, I haven't worked out for or done an Ironman in 12 and it feels like this, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm out of shape. And then you go, okay, if you're average, you got 18 more years and it goes by quick. And then I'm like, well, if I want to extend my life, yes, you need to get in fitness, but I think you also really need to be engaged in something that is meaningful, that gets you like waking up in the morning, that basically tells your body, I ain't got time to die. I got, crap to do. I think that's part of it, or at least I hope it is, because I'm working my ass off at 60 years old. Now I want to just one last thing. One thing, I have had a couple of really nice compliments this week. And one was when we were at this bar. I call it a dive bar. And what I call dive bars are where they don't serve any food, right? And you see that in California, bars that have that, no food. But this one's a dive bar for the housewives of Manhattan Beach or Orange County or whatever. It was people watching extraordinaire, just dripping in money, all the rest of it. But anyway, I was there, and there was one woman at the bar, because you have to go up and you order your drinks. And I was looking at her. She looked like she was a person that was on, Zoloft, had tons of money, but, basically was drinking her life away. Like, that's what she looked like, right? And anyway, I'm standing there and we start chatting, and she was quite a nice lady. But she goes, how old are you? And I go, well, I'm 60. She goes, get out of here. You look so much younger. And then she said, you and me are, like, I thought I was the oldest one in the bar. I was like laughing because, a lot of them look, if you look through the plastic surgery, there were probably a lot of 60-year-olds. So anyway, I thought that was a great compliment. And then our landlord, our Airbnb landlord, he pulled in the other day and he was asking what my age was. He goes, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask your age. So I go, I'm 60. He goes, man, you look good for 60, man. Like, I'm 56 and you look better than me, in better shape. And I'm like, well, so I had compliment 2 in 2 days, and I'm thinking, well, that's nice. Of course, I gave the lady a compliment and said, man, you don't look 60 at all. And I learned a long time ago that when a woman says, how old do you think I am? Always give it a lower age, right? I remember I was in Vegas. I did the ITU, I think it was the ITU Ironman World Championships or something like that. And anyway, I was down on the strip, went into this, I forget what it was, like the Golden Nugget. It wasn't like the high-end Wynn or anything like that. And having a couple of drinks, and this older lady comes up, and she's dolled up, man. She's got like the wig on, she's holding it together, but for herself, and kind of keeping young looking and all that. And we start talking, and she asks me, well, how old do you think I am? And I look at her, and this is before, I was so dumb. And I was actually really looking at her, and I thought, she was serious. I'm like, are you 80? And man, did she she was like, what the? And I'm sure she was, right? And I was like, what's going through your head? I should have said, are you 60? So of course, on this time, because I know better, is I said she asked me how old I was, and I go, I'm 60. I go, well, how old are you? And she goes, well, how old do you think I am? And of course, I learned the hard way. I'm like, I don't know. She goes, well, I'm 60 or whatever. I said, man, I would never have thought that. I would have thought you were like in your 50s or something. Anyway, it's a whatever. It is what it is. But could you imagine if I said different? She'd probably be going home, and that poor 80-year-old lady who's probably 90 now. Anyway, live and learn. That was my week. Next week, I may be more consistent, although I don't know. I got a lot of stuff happening at work right now that's going to be 15-hour days. But woe me, I'm feeling better. Alice isn't here, so it sucks. But the good thing, there's pluses and minuses. She's not here, so it sucks. Then the plus is she's not here, so it's like I'm bored. So it's like, well, just go out and train. All right, have a good one.